What's up, everyone? Before we dive in, I want you to think about this. You're complaining about your Wi-Fi being slow, your coffee being cold, or having to wait 30 seconds for an elevator. But what if I told you that just by being born when you were, you've already won the cosmic lottery? Today we're going on a journey through history to find the absolute worst times to be born as a human being. And trust me, after this video, you'll never complain about Monday mornings again. But first, if you enjoy videos that make you grateful for indoor plumbing and antibiotics, smash that subscribe button and let's get started. Picture this. It's 1200 BCE and you've just been born. Congratulations! You've arrived just in time for what historians call the Bronze Age collapse. Basically the ancient world's version of a complete system shutdown. Imagine if tomorrow every government fell, every city was abandoned, and everyone just forgot how to read and write. That's essentially what happened around the Mediterranean. The great civilizations of the time, the Mycenaeans, the Hittites, pretty much everyone except Egypt, just vanished. Your birth announcement? Quote, "It's a boy. Too bad civilization just ended." End quote. But here's the kicker. Nobody really knows why it happened. Was it climate change? Sea raiders? Volcanic eruptions? Economic collapse? Probably all of the above. It's like the ancient world decided to rage quit existence. If you were born during this time, you'd grow up in a world where your grandparents told stories about massive palaces and great cities, but all you'd see are ruins and people living in huts. It's like being born after the apocalypse, but the apocalypse was really boring. The writing systems disappeared, trade networks collapsed, and the population dropped by up to 90% in some regions. So not only were you born during the end of the world, but you probably wouldn't even learn to read about how bad things were. But let's fast forward to what historians literally call the worst year to be alive in human history, 536 CE. If the Bronze Age collapse was a slow-motion disaster movie, 536 was like someone hit the fast-forward button on the apocalypse. It started with a volcanic winter. A massive volcanic eruption, possibly in Indonesia, threw so much ash into the atmosphere that the sun was blocked for 18 months. Byzantine historian Procopius wrote that the sun, quote, "gave forth its light without brightness, like the moon," end quote. Imagine being born into perpetual twilight. Your first year of life, you never saw proper sunlight. Crops failed worldwide, leading to famine. Temperatures dropped globally. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the plague of Justinian arrived. This wasn't just any plague. This was the first recorded pandemic of bubonic plague, the same disease that would later cause the Black Death. It killed an estimated 25 to 50 million people. Roughly 13% of the world's population at the time. So congratulations, baby of 536. You were born into nuclear winter, without the nuclear war, with a side of plague that makes COVID look like a minor cold. Your baby book would just be a list of natural disasters.
The Roman Empire, which had been limping along, essentially collapsed in the West. The Byzantine Empire lost half its population. China experienced massive famines and political upheaval. If you somehow survive your first year, you grow up in a world where people genuinely believed the end times had come. And honestly, they had a point.
Now you might think, okay, but what about the Middle Ages? Surely things got better.
Oh, sweet summer child. Let me introduce you to the medieval period's greatest hits album. Death, Disease, and Despair.
Track 1, The Black Death, 1347 to 1351.
Killed 30 to 60% of Europe's population. Imagine if every other person you knew just died. In 4 years.
Track 2, The Little Ice Age, 1300s to 1800s.
Centuries of crop failures, famine, and freezing. Your medieval ancestors literally had to deal with climate change, but in reverse.
Track 3, Constant Warfare,
The 100 Years' War, the Crusades, countless local conflicts. Medieval life was like being born into a never-ending episode of Game of Thrones, but with worse hygiene. And speaking of hygiene, let's talk about medieval medicine. Got a headache? Time for some bloodletting, broken bone, more bloodletting. Plague, you guessed it, bloodletting. Medieval doctors had basically one solution to everything, and it was usually making you lose more blood. If you were born a peasant, which was about 90% of people, you'd spend your entire life working someone else's land, paying taxes you couldn't afford, and hoping you didn't get conscripted into whatever war was happening that decade. But here's what really made medieval times terrible: the complete lack of social mobility. If you were born poor, you died poor. If you were born a serf, your children would be serfs. Your grandchildren would be serfs. Your entire family line was basically locked into poverty forever. And let's not forget the justice system. Trial by ordeal was still a thing. Quote, "We think you stole that chicken. Please hold this red-hot iron bar, and if your hand doesn't burn, you're innocent." End quote. Medieval times weren't called the Dark Ages for nothing.
And that's part 1 of our journey through history's worst birthday parties. If this video made you appreciate indoor plumbing, modern medicine, and the fact that you probably won't be eaten by a plague-carrying rat today, give it a like and subscribe for more videos that make you grateful for the 21st century. Make sure to hit that notification bell because part 2 is going to be even more brutal. We're diving into prehistoric times, ancient plagues, and some historical disasters that make everything we talked about today look like a minor inconvenience. What do you think was the worst time in history to be born from today's list? Let me know in the comments below. Just remember, you get to leave those comments from the comfort of your climate-controlled room with a computer that would have been considered magic just 100 years ago. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2. Assuming civilization doesn't collapse before then.